So, huge one. So it was basically all about Kane finally telling Moira, which we all know that he's needed to do. Like, he's needed to tell her, she's needed to know about it, and finally he has. So that's all good news. It was so emotional, Moira's reaction, because obviously it just absolutely floored her. Like, he had told her that he was all okay, and she thought he was okay, and then to find out that actually it's not going that way. But I mean, she had some brilliant advice of like telling everybody and everything. So I think the next step for Kane is 100% to tell the rest of the family, like Chaz, Caleb, Rona, Marlon, like basically Belle, like all the rest of the young girls, Sam, Lydia, like they just need to start to find out now. And I think once he's got everybody else behind him as well, it will be, yeah, a better experience. He also found blood in his urine, which he went to Liam about, which was absolutely the right thing to do. But yeah, I feel like the next step for Kane is that he needs to tell everybody. So Laurel finally told Nicola about Arthur, and I loved that. I loved Nicola being a supportive best friend and being like, you better tell him to stop it. And Nicola's right, like Laurel does need to talk to him, and I'm sure that's what's coming next because they really do need to have like a conversation about what's going on. So massive day, obviously the biggest thing of the whole day was like the Tates finally getting home farm. As we know from yesterday, Moira has sold it to Kim and Joe, which means it's officially theirs. And then obviously we all know that with that Robert's going to be tenant farmer and everything, and then everybody found out, and obviously Kane wasn't happy at Aaron and Robert having known this situation for the longest time, and yeah, it's all just a bit of a pickle. I don't think it is the end for this farm drama. I think there's going to be more to come from it because I just don't think that Kane's going to rest and leave it at that. So obviously Gabby found out about Arthur being the one to really hurt Laura, and I think that Gabby gave him some good advice. Like, he does need to kind of own what he did and accept the situation, and hopefully they can come to some sort of agreement. But it looks like Arthur wants to go to Manchester for this digital marketing job. But I'm wondering, like, is this real or is he just making this up because he thinks that like everybody wants them to get away from them? And obviously everybody's still absolutely like raging about the farm and everything, but this Rona and Graham situation with the bridge, obviously Rona got called away for Ivy, and then like she went to go to the bridge to meet him and he hadn't been there at that point, but he's now went with Kim and he's actually going to go and sleep with Kim, but Rona's trying to still phone him. So yeah, it's all getting a bit messy for Graham, isn't it? I mean, I personally still think that something's going to happen between him and Rona, because I felt like it really since that very first day that he came back, when him and Rona had that episode during the week of Ray's death and finding out who killed Ray and everything. So yeah, I've felt it from then that him and her and Graham are going to do something, and I am a bit like it's going to devastate Marlon if they do, but I just can't help feeling like they will do something. So yeah, obviously Graham wasn't happy that Rona found out what had happened, but I kind of shake the feeling that something is still going to happen between Graham and Rona. I just feel like they both have feelings for each other, like she has feelings for him as well, and I just can't see that stopping like anytime soon, and it kind of devastates me because I'm going to be devastated for Marlon when this happens to him, because he's going to be absolutely heartbroken by it. It was so amazing that Bear seems to be a lot better. I loved all the scenes with Bear. I loved all the scenes when he was back at home as well, and like just the fact that he seems himself, although he obviously does want to take responsibility for what he's done, but at the same time the fact that he's strong enough to accept it, and he's strong enough to say, look, I actually did it for a reason, like I did it because they were horrible people, like he was a horrible person and he wasn't nice to me, and that's why, like, the fact that he's understanding that they were monsters, yeah, it's just so good. So Sam being sick, I mean, if you've seen the trailer at the weekend, then you will know that things are very quickly going to start to unravel about the Megan situation, with Sam and Will, and how she's obviously got Sam involved and she's been sleeping with Will, and etc, etc, like it's all going to unfold, which is exciting. But yeah, obviously Sam was sick. He's obviously taking this medication, this ADHD medication, which he also shouldn't be taking. So how horrible was Theo? Obviously it was Theo's birthday and basically he wasn't happy because he felt like he got the wrong present and he felt like Todd made everything go wrong. Like that was so powerful for Todd as well. Like when Theo went to stab him and Todd's like, come on then, just do it, like put me out of misery. Todd's like, you know, I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm still starting to think that Summer's going to see this or something. Like someone else has to start finding out what Theo's up to and what he's doing. I'm just not sure who. So, do we actually really think that Todd and Theo are going to stay split up? Because I don't, for a start. Obviously, Theo's kind of laid this trap a little bit, and obviously he's not going to be too happy that Todd has walked back home with James and everything like that. But also, like, I just can't see them staying split up. But then I'm also thinking, like, will they stay split up, and is this maybe like a kind of sign that Theo is definitely going to be the one that dies on April 23rd, because that's going to come like quicker than we all think. So yeah, it's like, is that really going to mean that like he is going to be the one that's going to end up dying on April the 23rd? I don't know. So poor Sham, obviously, Leanne is beginning to realise that something more has gone on here, and she's obviously asked Daniel to have a word with him. But then also speaking to Daniel, Leanne has caught Megan out in this lie, so what's going to happen if Leanne says something to her? Because like I just have no idea what answer Megan's going to have for this. So Theo tried to get his 2 pence in about George to Annie because he's seen her. Yeah, he's just trying to annoy everybody, isn't he? Obviously that is not true whatsoever, anything that Theo said, but of course he's just trying to get at Todd and he's trying to get at George, and he's found out that he'll get at Todd by getting George basically. Jodie with the Adam thing, obviously she said that she doesn't want her ex-boyfriend to know where she is, so she wanted Adam to delete that video that he had taken of her and David with the dog poo. But also Alia wants it deleted because obviously Alia's seen with her old boss in that video, so the big question is, what's Alia up to? It was Jim's funeral, so obviously everybody came back to the pub and a couple of Jim's pals came back as well. However, we've kind of found out a little secret. We have been saying that we think Ben and Steve are half brothers, and I think we've worked out today that that is true, because obviously one of Jim's friends that came back to the pub, he recognised Maggie and he pulled her up on it. He was like, I recognise you, Margaret, and yeah, Jim used to call you my wee Maggie. Yeah, like, so she has been with Jim. There has been things going on years ago, so we're definitely thinking that Ben and Steve are half brothers. The big question next is, how are Ben and Steve going to find out that they're half brothers, is the big question. So I don't think Adam's going to be happy when he finds out that Alia is basically getting made to sabotage him. Yeah, I mean, why is she even still in contact with Fabians, honestly? Like, she needs to give her head a wobble. She needs to give herself a little bit of a shake. And then the Driscoll stuff, obviously Ben was so still hungover that basically they ended up missing the appointment and they blamed car parking and everything. Although obviously we've kind of found out more that definitely I think Ben and Steve are half brothers, because obviously Maggie went to Steve and she was asking all these questions about Jim's condition, because obviously she's thinking that genetically Ben could have it. So yeah, she was asking all these questions. And obviously Steve hasn't put two and two together. He doesn't really understand what it's all about. But yeah, she was asking all these questions. So I'm wondering if she's going to try and make Ben maybe take some tests or something. And Ben's going to be like, why you make me do this, ma? You know what he's like. And yeah, it's going to kind of unravel and come out that because Jim McDonald was your father, basically. That's it this week. So see you soon. Bye.